I agreed with everything Hillary said there. I mean, she has a strong record when it comes to reproductive rights. And even dating back to the 90s, she's been very consistent in being pro-choice. So I don't question her sincerity in what she said there. I thought that was fine.
She also, but you know what? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to split hairs, but she did say that I could support abortion restrictions in the very end of the third trimester. Now, why even say that? So what are you going to do? Are you going to put the woman in prison who has an abortion in the third trimester? No, you're not. So why do you say things like that? Because she can't help it.
I think it's a political thing.
No, what is this?
I don't know.
Is this it? This is the
I
exclusive.
wish that she would just go to it.
I know.
Oh, they're not going to it?
Okay,
God
just don't
damn
worry
this.
It's infuriating.
So, look, I know what you mean, and as pro-choice as I am, I think that there should be restrictions in the third trimester. And look, I think that, of course, there should be exceptions if the woman's life is in danger, if the fetus has severe developmental issues. All those things, of course, should be taken into consideration. But by the third trimester, you're very far along, right? And so if everything's healthy and it's a healthy pregnancy, I don't know if I agree with allowing abortion in those cases.
I allow the decision to be made by a woman and her doctor.
Regardless of how far along she is?
But I allow it to be made by a woman and her doctor. Yeah, I'm going to stay out of it. I'm honest. Once it's a slippery slope. Either you want I want the interaction between a doctor and a patient to have nothing to do with the government.
Yeah. I don't know.
I do care about viability, to be completely honest with you. So I think that at a certain point in the third trimester, it's viable outside the womb.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, too, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm 100% right about it. I'm just having an opinion.
No, and I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
Look, I respect your opinion because you've thought about it. That's where you stand. That's where your morality is, and that's fine. I don't like someone else's religious beliefs dictating what I do with my body, right? And so the Supreme Court decided that abortion should be legal up to viability, which is why there's some leeway for states to come up with their own restrictions, right? And look, I tend to side with a more conservative view once the woman is far along with a healthy pregnancy. I'm just being honest with you guys.
Okay, I mean, you know, of course, and I wouldn't do backflips over those restrictions, right? All I'm saying is that I don't like the idea of the government getting involved in a medical decision.
Yeah.
And I trust doctors and I trust women together.
Yeah, after all, there can be that doctors at a certain point say that it's, you know, you like it's bad for it would be bad for your health at that point. Like us being uncomfortable with it totally makes sense. I mean, I think that fundamentally, if we think that it is the right of the woman to choose, then you can look down on her for doing it. You can, but I think it's another level to say the government should step in to stop it from happening, maybe. But I don't know. And look, it's
tough.
1 out of 1,000 cases.
I know,
that
it's
late in
so
it.
rare that a woman gets
When do you all of a sudden you're carrying a baby for 7 or 8 months, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I want to get rid of it now.
Yes, exactly.
That doesn't happen, does it?
Yeah.
And also to your point about Hillary and her record on reproductive rights, look, it's interesting because there's always this issue of Hillary being better on women's issues than Bernie. But even though they've had the same voting record, Hillary has used the phrase, I want to make it safe, something, and rare. She kept emphasizing rare.
Right.
And that was kind of a way to appeal to more conservative voters, which I didn't like, but at least her voting record was very similar to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, who gets great ratings from those organizations. Yes. We don't know if it had been their membership at NARAL and at Planned Parenthood, would they have voted for him? We'll never know because instead their board just decided. But at that town hall, which I think was Chris Cuomo, when they asked her and she said certain restrictions in the third trimester, he asked Bernie, should there be these limitations? And he said no. He said, I'm for a woman's right to choose. And look, we want people to be honest and upfront and offer information and everything. It feels to me like another case of Hillary just starting off by compromising because it plays into the idea that, oh, well, now we're talking about restrictions. Okay, so let's start talking about more potential restrictions. That's what all the states are relying on. Whereas he's saying, no, it's a woman's right.
So
I don't know. It's more simplistic in a way, which I don't necessarily agree, but it also it is more likely, I would say, to actually preserve a woman's right than to get into a bargaining contest about what sorts of restrictions you should have.
I see your perspective on it, and I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of TYT viewers that might sway me against what I just said about the third trimester. I just feel like, for me, the main issue is viability, right? So when we're talking about, should abortion be banned at 22 or 23 weeks, well, a fetus is viable outside the womb after that point. You know what I mean? Like, there have been premature births where the baby has survived. And so for my morality and what I believe, I feel like that's a little too late if it's a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you what.
I honestly don't know. I don't know that. To me, it makes a medical difference. I don't know that to me it makes any ethical difference.
Well,
but it's complicated, obviously.
Yeah, it's super complicated.
I don't care. When I'm pregnant, I'm going to have an abortion no matter when I want.
Well, and look, there are women who will take matters into their own hands if they're facing a restriction in their state and they don't have access to a safe abortion.
Yeah.
That's just the fact of the matter.
You know what
What I loved about that conversation that he had was usually when a Republican is getting all, we should ban it and all that, then the critics of the Republican will say, oh my God, can you imagine if we had to go back to the system of women going to back alleys? In this case, he offered up, well, I don't know, maybe we'll just go back to where they go to the back alleys. They're doing more dangerous stuff.